Hello and welcome to Simple Life Philosophy. I'm your host, Ed Raby, and this is the channel where you follow along on my journey as I journey for a simpler philosophy of life that is both easy to understand and execute and leads to better productivity and peace of mind. I want to thank everybody for liking and sharing and subscribing, doing all the things that YouTuber watchers do. I appreciate it. Absolutely. It's been just greatly beneficial. I've watched the subscriber count jump quite a bit over the last couple of weeks, and I want to thank you very much for that. Getting very, very close to 100. Today, I want to just, I didn't have a video on Thursday. This video is going to drop Saturday, and there probably won't be any Sunday Stoic because I just don't have the time to do it because on July 4th, my grandson was born. And so I spent the last couple of days just kind of either basking in that or recovering from the basking because I stayed up a lot later than I normally do. I had to take a day off of work. I was a little tired. And so after I got done with all that, and my son was in from New York, and there was just a whole bunch of things going on. So for a couple of days, I was just not here and not able to do a video like I want to. And so I'm just, thrilled to death. And, now there's 8 of them and 4 boys, 2 girls, so we're all tied up. And yes, this includes the one that is not technically biologically my granddaughter, but I'm going to take her anyway. I refuse to play the kind of games that were played with my father and my grandfather about, them not being really part of the family. I won't do that to a child, and so I'm going to count her as well. But the fact of the matter is that I never thought I'd have 8 grandchildren. It seems like an awful lot after only having 3 kids, but it's definitely growing and definitely getting bigger. But I'm kind of thrilled. He'll be referred to as DJ if I do mention him at all, which this might be the last time that I do mention him. He's so little. But there's always something very humbling about holding a baby, I think, and I got to be one of the first to hold him besides his mother and father. And I got a couple hours just to hold on to the little boy and just, cradle this little sleeping child that just a few hours before had been born. And there's something humbling about that. There's something of an understanding of how, no matter how bad our childhood may have been, somebody took care of us enough to get us past that and into a place where we can kind of take care of ourselves. And, it's an amazing feeling. And I'm not, talking about God or anything like that. I'm talking about the people around us that tried to put some goodness into our life. And I think that's something to remember. One of the things that, sometimes bothers me is how we focus so much on the negative. And I've watched a lot of people focus on the negative of late. And learning to focus on the positive, good things of life is a struggle for me as well. Don't get me wrong. But I'm learning how important it is, how important it is to grab onto these things. It's an important decision that we make every day to realize what we can and cannot control. And I'm holding this child and I'm realizing that there's very little this child has to control in his life. And we all start out that way, completely out of control, completely with somebody else taking care of us, without which we just don't survive necessarily. And I just find it very interesting that human beings seem to just have this knack to survive. And a lot of us don't, but it just amazes me sometimes. And I'm just kind of caught up in the glow of that today. It was just a humbling experience. This week has been very busy with my son home, getting to hug him and talk to him. And I know he was my first subscriber to this channel, so I thank him every day because he watches my videos, and I'm sure he likes a couple of them now and then too. So it's always appreciated when family gets on board with what you're trying to do. But my personal journey right now is just this week has just been a whirlwind, and on the one hand, there's a lot of good things. My grandson's born, my son's in from New York. I've got all these things going for me, but I'm now understanding how autism can really take me out of a game, or just the whole hypersensitivity part of it can really take me out of the game because there's so much sensory perception going on there. And a lot of it's positive. Like I have a very sensitive sense of touch. So holding on to a baby is a very positive experience and a very recharging experience for me, especially when it's, one of my own grandkids. But there's something very positive out there. I love hugs from my grandkids. There's just my daughter, everybody giving me a hug, my son giving me a nice strong hug, and that was great. This is all stuff that recharges me, but there's a whole bunch of other aspects of it, like having to be out in the sun all day with the bright lights bothering my eyes, all the smells of summer, all the different things that just kind of overload my senses. And even though they're positive experiences, there's kind of this drain on your neurology. You know what I'm saying? And I'm starting to realize that's what that is. And I remember I was sitting outside and, on Wednesday, whole family's there, all my kids, all my grandkids, my mother, even my ex, and we're all just we had pictures to do, and we're just basking in that. And I remember thinking to myself, I said, if you don't get up and go inside, all of this is going to kind of overwhelm your nervous system. You need to get out of the heat and you need to get out of the light for a bit so that you can kind of recharge a bit. And this is kind of my realization, and it actually helped a lot. And eventually, everybody, half the people joined me in the living room as well for a lot of the same reasons. And there's just something about coming to this understanding of what's going on. And it's the neurology of it. It's why I took a day off on Thursday, because it was like, if I go into work, that's going to be too much. After all this sensory perception, I need to have a day where I recharge, and I pulled out and recharged. Today has kind of been a half recharge, half get stuff done day to make up for it, but it's been, a real hectic week from a busyness standpoint. Tomorrow, or Saturday, I have to go to a friend's 50th birthday party and things like that. So there's a lot of things going on this week. And the personal journey thing, I titled this video, and then there were 8. It was about the 8 grandkids, but it's like there's that sense of more and pressing and having, more fingers to count, but also more things going on. And that can be very draining for me, even when it's positive experience. And that's kind of, in a sense, a little depressing. Okay, I don't want to use that term too harsh. It's just mildly so. Because I always have this feeling like I don't want to miss out on anything. I don't want to miss out on conversations. I don't want to miss out on experiences. But I also know that if I overdo it, I will miss out on other experiences. And so I had a good time Wednesday, and Thursday I just had to relax to recover from it. And today it's kind of been a half and half. I'm still relaxing a little bit. I'm still going forward. Today's Friday, and this video will probably drop Saturday. I don't think there'll be a Sunday Stoic because I just don't have time. This week's just been very busy. I won't have time Saturday to do it either. So it's like probably Tuesday will be the next video after this one. And basically, I'm learning how, because my whole thing with the hypersensitivity and my high functioning depression has always been, the valleys and the mountaintops, And what I'm trying to do is make it more of divots and low rolling hills. Because, now don't get me wrong, and I was talking about this with my therapist my last session, about how coming out of depression is an endorphin rush like you wouldn't believe. Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about, because when I come out of depression, I have so much energy, I have so much creativity, I have so much pushing me. I will literally take a whole day in that rush and get so much done. Just get a ton of crap done. And I'm just overwhelmed at how much I get done. But as soon as that's over, it's like it pushes you back into depression. And it kind of levels out, it plateaus out, and then you dive again. And it's like, and the whole goal of trying to understand this hypersensitivity, this autism thing, everything, my whole thing is I don't want that to be the steep stuff. I want it to be a low rolling thing right now, okay? Where I got it a little bit more and I understand a little bit more about balance. Because the Simple Life philosophy is about balance. It's about learning to keep things as on an even keel as possible. Life is going to throw you ups and downs. Like be honest, having another grandchild born is just a huge up for me. I never, imagined in a million years how great that feeling is when grandchildren are probably the most awesome thing in the world. Sorry, kids, but you have to raise kids to get to them. And if you raise them properly, you'll get great grandchildren that are also raised properly. And, there's differences of opinion even among my three children of how to raise children. But you know what? It's kind of cool because I think they kind of rub off on each other, and it's kind of interesting to watch them all together. And it was, how often do all three of my kids in the same room or in the same area, and that just doesn't happen very often. And those are all great, wonderful highs, but I also know they're stressful and that there's a real danger of bottoming out. So I have to do other things like getting out of the heat and just relaxing and taking a day off and just relaxing after an experience like that, so I don't take a deep dive. Because if I had gone to work today or yesterday, I can imagine that today would have been a crash dive because I would have come out of that and I would have been like, that's too much negative and not enough positive. And I'm trying my darndest to keep this balanced so that the productivity level is nice and even. Will I miss the high creative highs? You betcha. But I also won't miss the lows and the valleys where, you can't get anything done and you just don't even want to exist. People have asked me, I was asked once if I was suicidal once, and I've said, I've never been suicidal. I won't say that I haven't been standing on the curb wishing a bus would jump it and hit me, but I'm never one of those kind of guys that wants to leave that kind of legacy. And that's what it's really about. You don't want to leave that kind of legacy for the people that love you and care for you, that because that affects them, and it's a real selfish decision in that regard. I watched the aftermath of that too much, and so it's just kind of a blockage there. I just don't even think about it. I figure that any life at all is better than death, and as an atheist, I don't really believe in an afterlife. So this is the one I get, so I need to make the best of it and have a happy as one as possible. And that's kind of where I go with this. The issue for me is the simple life philosophy that leads to a happy life, that leads ultimately to peace of mind. It's not just about happiness. It's about managing the sadness. It's about knowing the sadness is going to come, but I can keep it from being a super duper deep valley and just have it be a nice little shallow valley, which actually may have its positives. And I think I'm learning. I'm definitely learning. Was it perfect this week? No. I did have a couple of low points. I did have a real endorphin rush this morning where I got a couple of things done that I needed to get done, but then it just kind of died down. It's really hard some days. And so, I talk about this openly. A lot of people say, you're really transparent about this. I says, because I think a lot of people feel this way and they don't feel at liberty to tell people about it because they don't want to show weakness. And that's a real tragedy in our society, is showing weaknesses. But like it or not, there are times in our life where we're like that newborn babe I held on Wednesday. We're completely vulnerable to what other people do. And that child needs protecting, and somebody else has to do that. And sometimes our emotions are in that state where we're kind of a newborn in vulnerability, and we need to have that, and we need to have people that we trust. But also, we need to not be afraid to be the newborn. That giving birth to new ideas and new forms of living requires that we be vulnerable at times, and that's a hard thing, and I get that. So that's kind of why I get on YouTube, to kind of share my experiences so that people understand they're not alone. Okay, I know there's a lot of people out there probably with adult autism, and they struggle just like I do. They probably come up with a bunch of coping mechanisms over the years, and now they're having to relearn things like I am. And relearning things, man, being an old dog trying to do new tricks is difficult. I'm going to be honest, but learning is necessity, because I don't want to live the way I've lived in the past, where I'm hiding everything and I'm not feeling well and I'm not feeling happy and I don't have any real peace of mind or feel like I'm being very productive. And I don't want to go back that way. I want to go this way. I want to go the direction I'm going. I've detangled from my past. I've detangled from faith. I've detangled from a lot of that stuff. And now I want to weave my life back into a tapestry that's a little bit more beautiful and something that I can be proud of. But that's just kind of what's been going on in my life. The next video will be Tuesday because I'm going to need some time to work on it in the afternoons when I get home from work over the next few days. So just be patient with that, and hopefully we'll be back on a regular schedule after that. And I've been working on my routines and my rotation and my systems, and that rotation idea seems to be working a lot better in my mind. I've just got to start executing it a little bit better. But it's going better than what I had in the past, so that's good. So, thanks for all the well wishes and ideas that some of you have given me, and it's been very, very helpful. Thank you very much. This has been Simple Life Philosophy. That's all I really wanted to talk about today. I've been your host, Ed Raby. Continue to like, share, comment, hit that notification bell. Share this video with your friends that you think might be interested. And don't be afraid to be a little bit transparent, to be a little bit newborn. You can't generate new ideas without having a newborn vulnerability from time to time. So just keep that in mind. And once again, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate every single one of you. You guys have a great day.